What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Uberkooledgarage. On this week's episode, as you probably saw on the thumbnail, Zach's Ghia is getting air conditioning. So not only is this system an air conditioning system, it also has heat as well. So he'll still have window defrost and stuff like that. So seems like a really cool system. Should be relatively straightforward to install. So let's hop right into it. All right, so I'm going to start going through the wiring and stuff. Yes, this is speaker wire. I have no idea what it ran to. It was bundled up in this loom back here, which kind of tags off of the taillights here with the splice connector. So who knows? This wire here pretty much went to nothing, so I'm gonna delete that. That wire there went to nothing, so we'll delete that one too. And then whatever this is, we're going to get rid of that as well. So we'll get rid of that. Start going through the rest of it. They have a whole bunch of weird random things going everywhere back here. So you have stuff that comes off of the battery. This loom here, have no idea where it went. So I just gotta trace stuff, figure out where all this stuff goes, clean it all up, make sure everything's where it needs to be, get rid of the stuff that we don't need, and we'll get this side of the wiring harness cleaned up. I think I'm going to paint the engine bay for him. That way it's not all gross. You can't have a decent looking motor that's all freshly painted and cleaned up with gross, yucky engine bay. So you can clean up all these wiring, and then we'll paint the engine bay, and then we'll hop into the front and start doing all that wiring as well. This is probably the coolest thing that I have got for this car so far. So came with a drain hose, couple of mounts, and then this is the entire inside air conditioner evap. So this has 2 fans on it, which is super cool. It has all of the air conditioning stuff on this side. It has the heater hoses that go into this side. And then these I'll end up plumbing into the factory stuff. That way it blows air conditioner or heater out of the stock vents, which means he'll have defrost on the front and possibly the rear window. All the foot vents will work. So that's pretty cool. This one here is the air conditioning. The switches feel super nice. I kind of really like these switches. I was almost thinking about seeing if I can find these for a boost gauge. So here's high and low on the temperature. This one's the fan control with the air conditioning light in it. So these will go in the dash. The wiring's super short, so I'm assuming this is usually, will go underneath the dash or something like that. But since this car, everything's kind of in the rear of the car instead of up front in a normal car, I'm going to take these wires, I'll splice them and extend them out, put these in the dash, and then this will go either underneath the rear seat or in that back package tray. Not 100% sure yet, but we will figure that out, and then we'll start getting all this stuff plumbed up. The hose fittings that I got for the air conditioning lines fit on this, which is nice. So I pretty much have everything minus 2 weld-in fittings to finish off the air conditioning stuff. So we can start plumbing this in, and we'll see how this goes. Kind of have the whole system laid out here in the garage just to kind of get an idea of what goes where, what hoses need to go where, what size hoses need to go where. So what I got here is both of these fittings will go into the AC compressor. So this joint here, I'm going to have to braze in, and same with that one there, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. I'm going to stop and get some aluminum filler rod probably tomorrow, so then I can do those. So those lines come out. This is a bulkhead fitting. Both of these are bulkhead fittings. So this will get drilled into the firewall. That way this hose connects to this hose. So that'll be a short run there. And then this long goes all the way into the inside blower fan. And then that comes out of there into the dryer, comes around. There's another bulkhead fitting that'll go probably underneath the car through the rear package tray area, and that goes around, goes into the condenser, and then that comes out and goes back into the compressor. So all of this looks really good. I have no idea how I got everything right on the first shot, but it seems like I came up with a semi-decent system. So now I need to bolt that into where I need it to go. I need to find a place for that, and all the rest will kind of just fit in together. So system looks really cool, really simple. All the lines should be relatively short and easy to put together. So I'm gonna try and get that bolted in and see how that goes. All right, I'm sorry, I went ahead and got too excited. Mounted this thing up in the back package tray. So it came with the bracket that comes up and around and down, and then there's another one that comes off the center of the back and bolts to the firewall. It is in there nice and solid. So I'm going to probably order more hosing. So this will run from here down through into the stock vents. I'm going to put the condenser right here, and then I'll build a pan that goes over the top of that entire thing. I am going to put a fan on the condenser, just because that doesn't get direct airflow right there. This car does have scoops on the side of it, so I'm going to use more of this hose, run those up and around and down, and point them both at the top of the condenser. I might even utilize one of these. That way it gets cold air down there. This, and then the next one will probably go up and go into the rear window defroster. That way he has front and rear defrost on this car. So I'm going to end up cutting out this section. You can kind of see the blue lines. I'm going to cut out this section here. I'll put the condenser in there with a fan on it, and then I'll build this rear package tray up and across that kind of carries through the whole thing. And then he will have all of this for storage still if he needs to. And then the ECU will go under the driver's side rear seat. So we'll do that, and then he still has the entire left side under the passenger side rear seat for storage as well. So I'm going to do that. I also trying to crawl out of this car, of course. I also went ahead and made up my first air conditioning line. So I wanted to make sure I could do it and not look like an idiot in front of you guys, since this was the very first one. But it turned out really good. So this was the factory fitting, soldered on this clamp piece, and then that runs up through the hose. This was another crimp fitting. This one has the gauge adapter on it, and then that goes up into a bulkhead, and that one actually goes into the indoor interior evaporator. So I'm gonna make this bulkhead fitting go over to the evaporator, and then we'll start working on this line that runs down into the condenser, and then from the condenser up into the evaporator. So we're gonna start doing that. I need to I'm gonna do this line first, and then we'll start cutting out the rest of the bottom, so then we can raise it up and get that condenser in there. Got all of the paint stuff in. This is some self-etching primer from Eastwood. I've heard really, really good stuff about this. So I'm not gonna completely sand down the car all the way. So the self-etching is just for spots that I have to fill in and stuff like that. I also got high build primer and the paint and clear coat. So I got a gallon of each. Should be more than enough to do the car. So we're gonna do all the body work and stuff, and then we'll get to painting. I want to finish up the air conditioning stuff first. That way that's done and out of the way. And then that pretty much finishes off the entire motor system of the car minus the ECU, which should be here hopefully within the next week or maybe two. So we're gonna get the air conditioning stuff done, and then we'll hop right into body and paint, and then after that the car should be pretty much wrapped up. So I think the only other thing that I have to do, or that he would like me to do, is make him a back seat, since there isn't one. So it shouldn't be too big of a deal. We'll make one, and then I'll order some a new foam pad and a new seat cover for that as well. But other than that, the car is pretty darn close to being wrapped up. So let's get back into the air conditioning stuff. I went ahead and cut out the that section of the rear package tray. Got this thing mounted. I have a standoff on the back that strengthened the whole rear of the firewall. So that got bolted in. I also made a bulkhead plate right here that the heater hoses will go through, and then you have the refrigeration line that runs up through there. That will, once this thing gets covered, it'll cover to there and it'll actually bolt to it. That way that part stays part of it, but you can remove the rear section here to get to everything here. I also went ahead and put a fan and a fan shroud on the bottom of the actual condenser. So that worked out really, really good. So now, at this point, now I can finish the lines and all that. I still have to make a front bracket to hold this where I want it, but I'm going to finish off the lines. That way you guys can get the whole gist of that. So then by the end of this video, the heat and air conditioning will be pretty much wrapped up, minus tagging in these hoses here. So we will start finishing up making all the hoses. Went ahead and installed all of the AC lines that I just got done making, as you guys saw. So there's a couple more tiny things to do with this system. I'm going to put a rubber grommet in here. That way the hose doesn't move around at all. So both of these lines are done, and that's the only thing in the engine bay. So that turned out really clean, really nice. And then go around inside the car. I got all of this stuff in here. So that one comes through into here, goes through the core, out of here, into that bulkhead fitting. And then from that, it goes into the dryer. And then the dryer goes down into the actual AC system. And don't know if you can see them, but the two heater lines run up, plug into the back of the unit. So those are done as well. So we have a finished system. Just got to run a couple wires and button a few things up. But other than that, this thing's complete. So we'll finish this stuff off probably in the next video and start on paint and body. Alright guys, so that's all I have for you this week. As you can see, the entire system is all plumbed up. The last couple things left to do on that system is to add a drain, so then it doesn't drain into the cabin of the car, and run a couple wires. So system was really, really simple. If you guys want to know more about it, feel free to email me. My email's down in the description, or you can DM me on Instagram, and that's in the description as well. System turned out really nice. Really like how it is. It's relatively simple, pretty straightforward. So gotta put it on a vacuum pump it down, make sure I have no leaks, and then we can fill it up with refrigerant and see how it does. So be very, very curious to see how it is. So It's a really nice system. I actually really like how it turned out. It was a lot cheaper than you may have thought as well. So if you guys are interested in a Subaru swap or carbon parts or anything along those lines, go ahead and shoot me an email and I'll get back to you. This car's getting pretty close to done, and then I have at least one more lined up, hopefully 2 more. So there'll be definitely more content coming on that. The bug is coming back here probably in a week, well, probably 2 weeks. So I'm gonna start ordering parts for that, start finishing that car, and super excited about that. So we will see you guys on the next one. Peace out, guys.